We're at the Cereza Passive House. We're talking careful organization of a concrete pour or 6 concrete pours. Let's take it away. So I'm Dave Edwards with Earthbound Homes. This is Brett Morrow, the project manager for the Cereza House. And I'm standing in a big pile of cages for drilled piers. Brett, we're pouring a concrete foundation down there. We got another concrete foundation here, but I see a whole bunch of cages behind us. Why do we have all these cages here?
Those are going to be for drilled piers that go underneath the garage areas and some of the other areas of the house. Those won't be placed until we finish this foundation. We're doing the mat slab today. We'll do the walls in the future. Once the walls are done, we'll do the backfill. Once the backfill's in and compacted, then we can drill for our cages and our piling that'll hold up the rest of the house.
So we have materials behind us that we're not going to be using for a month after we do a lot of other work in the basement itself.
Right. There's a lot of stages that you have to go through with a project like this one. Some houses you can go in, put your foundation in with your crawler, do one pour and you're done. That's not true with some specific projects like this one.
So what is the difference between this project and another project where we have to do this in, I think we counted 6 pours. Yeah. Why 6 pours?
Well, first you got a giant hole in the ground that has to have shoring. So you got to drill and put shoring, put your steel in, put your lagging in, backfill that, make sure it's safe. Then you can start with your foundation. You can put your steel in your foundation, but you got the mat slab that has to go in first. Then you can put your walls in.
So the mat slab is the slab at the very bottom of the basement.
Right.
Okay, and then?
Then you've got walls on that basement that have to be poured. Those will be formed up and poured next.
And those walls hold the earth from collapsing in on the basement, right?
Right.
Okay, but they also support the structure above the house.
Right.
Right, above or the house.
Right.
Okay.
So that'll carry the load of the house on this part of the house for that part of the foundation. Once we get this in here, we'll backfill, we'll compact. There's areas where we have to put ret walls, so we'll have to pour those
retaining
in place.
Walls. Got
retaining walls.
Okay.
And we'll have to put those in place. After that, we've got slabs like this one that we have to pour. This is going to be poured after everything is done because it's got its own special pigment that has to match everything when it's complete. We have a garage over here that's going to have these cages put in those drill piling holes. Once that's done, we're going to have to put a grade beam around that to support the garage area.
And the grade beam ties all those piers together?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It ties it all together with this part of the house also, so it's all integrated.
So why do we have to have piers on this foundation when we have this basement right here? Is it about tying the 2 foundations together into the same kind of relative area of the ground so that they don't move differentially?
Kind of. The piers are going to be gravity. They're going to hold the house. Okay. They're going to be drilled down to bearing soil or rock, whichever we hit first, that will enable them to hold that part of the house up and not let it sag ever. Okay. But the grade beam will be integrated with this foundation so that you have a nice rigid structure when you're done.
So it's part of the reason is that we have this highly expansive soil around the house. And if we just put essentially what's called a T-footing or a spread footing underneath the garage, that would move up and down on the foundation, whereas the basement is solidified in the dirt that's not expansive soil, right?
Right.
So we would get a differential movement between the two, which would then cause like cracks in the foundation, but also in the sheetrock above.
Right. The mat slab that's on the dirt in the basement, we had to go down deep enough to find bearing soil. If we wouldn't have found that, then we would have had to do other considerations.
Okay. And so geotechnical engineers are coming in, they're doing the drilling and they're determining the characteristics of the dirt. And then the civil engineer and the structural engineer are determining how the house, well, mostly the structural engineer are determining how the house is going to sit on that dirt. And then the architect has to incorporate that into their plans. And then everybody gives all that information to us. And then we work with the foundation contractor to implement all of those design strategies.
Exactly, and that shows the amount of coordination and care you have to put in that, and it really defines the building if you have that quality team working one with another to get that accomplished.
And I think it's really important to determine the fact that This concrete company is a concrete company that's exceptionally good at doing basement foundation. We couldn't use a company that did like a lot of slab on grade, so foundations like this, but didn't have a lot of foundation experience for basements because it's such a different trade. So it's like specialization in medicine. Even though you have a concrete company, they may be really good at doing driveways and patios, but they don't know anything about basements and retaining walls and things like that.
Right.
If you're interested in learning more about building science or the Cereza Passive House, please hit subscribe as we show you how to build a better way. But I have a whole lot of piers behind me.
They're cages.
Yeah, cages.